Hello, it's Sydney with Mothering Mother, and today we're going to make homemade granola. So I'm going to start with first 4 cups of large oats, organic preferably. We have here a cup of chopped almonds. I'm going to add in, and we'll give the recipe at the end so you don't have to panic that you're not writing it all down. This is 1 cup of sunflower seeds in there, and then I'm going to add the pumpkin seeds. You can change that around if you want. Sometimes I put more like half a cup of pumpkin seeds and 3/4 of a cup of sunflower seeds. Make it work for you. And then I'm going to start to warm a little oil. So I've got here 1/4 of a cup of safflower oil. I really like using safflower oil. It's from a natural source. I'm not concerned about it like I would be with canola. It also is pretty tasteless. Maple syrup. This is my Canadian root here going in. And it's 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup. I'm not a fan of honey in granola. When you heat honey, it changes its properties. So you're much better to go with the maple syrup. So that's warming. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt, and I like to add that to the liquid. And I know you're probably looking at this and wondering what I'm doing. I know that I'm putting glass directly on the heat, but I find it works for me. It's a great way to warm and melt things without using a microwave. So that's warming. The other thing I'm going to add in is a big teaspoon of cinnamon. So get a nice rounded teaspoon and sprinkle that over. There we are. So then once the oil and syrup have warmed enough, and the salt will be in there, it'll help it to dissolve a bit. I turn that off. I'm going to add to it a very nice teaspoon of vanilla. And again, I like to add, that's a really good rounded teaspoon, so I'm going to add a little more than just 1. I, again, like to add the vanilla after it's warmed, not before. And then it's a little warm, so I'm going to use an oven glove. And then I take that over here and I just very gently stir it and pour it over. And scrape right down to the bottom. That's where that salt is sitting. You want to get that all out of there. And then with a wooden spoon, just mix it in. And this is really great here. Just keep moving it until it looks as though every piece of oatmeal and every nut has some kind of oil on it, or maple syrup. And then we're going to put it in the oven to cook and dry out. 300 degrees is wonderful. Don't go above that. Again, if you go too hot, it's not good for the oils that are in the nuts and the seeds and all the rest. I love making a double batch of this, and then I have lots on hand. It's really wonderful as a little thank you to someone to give them a jar of homemade granola. They almost always are super appreciative. And that's it there. I'm just going to use a spoon to scrape that. That's it, and then we're going to pop that in the oven, and I'd say every 15 minutes give it a stir and put it back in. So depending on your oven, you'll cook the granola anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour, and also depending on how dry you like it. So we have the granola out here. I'm going to give it a nice stir. Stir right down to the bottom, because the parts at the bottom that are in direct contact with the pan are getting a lot of heat. So stir that around. Alright, so we've got the granola out of the oven, and it's still wet. I can feel it's heavier. So give it that nice stir, and then we're going to put it back in the oven. Well, we're back here with what I would say is the finished granola. So giving it a stir, it's much lighter. Depends on how dry you like it, whether you'd put it back in again. It will cook a little more just sitting in the pan. The smell is so wonderful. That cinnamon just penetrates your entire home. So don't make this at bedtime. It'll keep you awake. Let the granola finish cooling in the pan before you put it in any jars or containers. You can add dried fruit to it. You could add coconut to it. It's totally personal and up to you. It's good for about a month out on your countertop. If you're going to keep it longer, then keep it in the fridge. All right, so enjoy, eat well, be well, and start the day in a healthy way.